Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker. This book comes from the 1400s, where a dude here it is. Yeah, it was published in 1467. Fechtbusch, Fechtbuch, and it's written in Old German. And in it, now can I go ahead and release the whatever?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
I mean, because you didn't name your champion, but okay.
Look,
it's basically who's the toughest person you know. Who's the person that you would say, all right.
Okay, so there were 300 Germanic tribes at the time, and they all had their different varying rules. So there wasn't really a set rule for anything. But in a couple of the tribes, there was such thing as divorce by combat.
I love it. I love the premise.
Divorce by combat. You think, oh, it can't be that great. What does it really mean? No, it really means divorce by combat. But in the super rare instance that it did go to divorce by combat, this was the setup. They are in a ring. The guy is in a hole that is waist deep.
Okay. I'm like, okay. So this is all he's got, right? He's like,
he is waist deep. He is not allowed to touch the side of his hole with his hands. He can lean on it or whatever, but he can't like prop himself up or push or catch himself or anything with his hands. All right. No one's wearing any armor. Neither one of them wear armor. They wear a jumpsuit with stirrups on the pant legs. They're barefoot. And the guy is armed with 3 clubs. He doesn't have a sword. He doesn't have a knife. He doesn't have a bow and arrow. He doesn't have like a sharp weapon. He just has 3 bludgeoning clubs like Captain Caveman.
He's only got 2 hands. Can he rest one on the hole, on the floor? Like, he's in the hole. He's waist deep.
I can't speak to that level of specificity.
Where's he hold the third one? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he has like a quiver in his back where he, like keeps it Negan style.
Acceptable answer.
Here's the deal. If his hand does touch the side of his hole, he has to give up one of his clubs. Okay. So the woman is allowed to stand outside the hole. She is not allowed to wear any armor either. And she is armed. She has 3 weapons as well, but it is boulders inside of a sling. It looks like a rock in a pillowcase is really what it looks like. And that's the trial by combat. And so the trial by combat.
Now, hold on. Now, I have a question. Does she have mobility? Because the man who is buried waist deep has no mobility other than to rotate 360.
Stop. He's not buried waist deep. It's not like they put him in a hole and then they filled in dirt. He's just in a hole, and that he has to stay in. So he can move 360 degrees just as easy as I. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So his
but mobility, he can't kick or anything, right? Because he's in a hole and she's on ground.
Exactly. Okay. So this is funny because they've had centuries, generations to refine the divorce by combat rules. And this is what they, after trial and error over and over through the generations, came up with as if a guy has to fight a girl. Look, this would be a fair fight. This is as close as they've got to a fair fight. Yeah. And Pugs, I want you to think of both of your wives.
Yeah.
And you were in the
already have been.
Could you take them?
No.
Shut up! Come on, man.
Flat out, not a
You're
chance.
A man, damn it! You're a
not
man.
A chance. Both of my ex-wives are extreme athletes. My first one was a marathon runner and a kickboxer, and my son's mother, she is very small. She has probably 2% body fat. She is a yoga master, and she's also she trains in fighting now because of the whole thing. No, first of all, my son's mother would exhaust me. She would run me around ragged. That would be her plan. She would run me around. I wouldn't be able to catch her. I wouldn't be able to fight her. She would elude me.
You wouldn't run, though. You'd be in the hole.
What's that?
You would just be in the hole.
Yeah, no, both
around and get tired.
Dude, flat out, both of my ex-wives are far greater athletes than I am. And they're both in incredible shape. My first wife was basically my height. She was like a couple of feet. She was a couple of inches shorter than me. She was tall. She's got long. Man, when she used to kickbox on the bag, she could easily just kick me in the head. I wouldn't see it coming. She'd just kick me in the head and knock me out. Yeah, I would not want to fight either of my 2 wives. They're both extreme athletes who are very in real good shape, and I'm not.
Okay, so if someone died, obviously the other person would win. the way the matches.
Yeah, and single. All
right,
ladies, let's go celebrate it, ladies' night at Ye Old Candle Shop and Pub.
Yeah, I guess we don't have to worry about that joint custody bullshit.
No.
But
you drown the kids back then, right? Isn't that what happens after the divorce? I mean, the kids are getting drowned either way.
Well, do you like them?
Yeah.
Do they have a future? They have potential. But there's other ways to win just besides killing them. You could knock them unconscious. That's kind of an obvious one. And that was far more common than death on the way to end it. But also there was it was noted in legal journals that trial by or divorce by combat ended when either the woman pulled the man out of the hole, like she knocked him unconscious or incapacitated enough to pull him out of the hole, or he pulled her into the hole. That was okay,
and then he can stop her, right? Then if
well,
she's
no,
in the hole,
over. It's like a pin in wrestling, which was another way because many of these duels eventually just descended into wrestling matches. You know, like she exhausted her rocks and she got the clubs away from him, which he can't go recover because he's stuck in a hole. And so, you know, he ends up grabbing her and pulling her down and pinning her and getting her to tap out or whatever. But the wrestling matches were a common way that it ended as well. It almost never ended in death. It was usually knocked unconscious or pinning someone, either pulling them in the hole or making them submit or whatever.
This is another example that proves my theory that no matter how awful you think we humans are in the year 2022, and we're pretty awful, we were worse a couple hundred years ago. We were worse. This
pretty barbaric.
You were. What's that?
Pretty barbaric.
Man, that is awesome. I had never heard of divorce by combat. I didn't know it was a thing, and now I'm fascinated to find out more about it.
Yeah, and so this wasn't a worldwide phenomenon. You know, it's not like slavery where we can say like every society experienced in some form or fashion slavery over the years. No, not everyone did divorce by combat, but the Germans did.
The Germans, you know, those
Germans did.
Those beacons of humanity, those people.
It's so weird because they usually seem to get this humanitarian thing so right all the time.
They do. They really do. Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.
Pugs and Parker.